Okay. Starting from the head, this is your masseter. These are your sternomastoid. Then down here, these you don't need to know. But you have like a triangular muscle here. Here you can see that. That's pectoralis major. Underneath it, all this band of muscles. And here all this. So this muscle here, that's your pectoralis minor. Okay. Abdominal muscles. The most superficial is your external abdominal oblique. Underneath that is your internal abdominal oblique, and below that is another muscle, this one here that extends beyond the edge of the internal abdominal oblique, that is your transverse abdominis. And then running up and down the middle of the abdomen, that's your rectus femoris, rectus abdominis, Jesus Christ, rectus abdominis, and you can see the edge of it here. Okay. So to the side, the muscle starts under the arm, goes towards the back. This big muscle here, that's your latissimus dorsi. Underneath it, you have the muscle that forms this banding pattern. That's your serratus anterior or serratus ventralis. Okay, going around. Back of the neck, that's your clavotrapezius. On top of the scapula is a thin muscle, this muscle here on both sides, and that's your acromiotrapezius. And then you have a muscle underneath that, this one here, below that, that is your spinotrapezius. So clavotrapezius, acromiotrapezius, and then spinotrapezius. On the scapula, if you remove the acromiotrapezius, you expose the scapula. And on the scapula, you have, this is the spine of the scapula. So the muscle superior to that is supraspinatus. Inferior to the spine, that's your infraspinatus. And alongside the edge of your infraspinatus, that muscle there, that's your teres major. Okay. If you flip the scapula, you'll expose the rhomboideus muscles. And this is a bump that marks the end of the neck. So all above that, those are your neck's vertebrae. And these rhomboideus are known as rhomboideus cervicis or rhomboideus minor. Below that is your thoracic vertebrae, and those are your rhomboideus thoracis or rhomboideus major. Underneath the scapula, that's the subscapularis. Okay. Towards the arm, we have the deltoids. This is your spinodeltoid, and this is your acromiodeltoid. In human beings, that's just one big muscle, the deltoid muscle. Okay, and the other thing I forgot to mention, your trapezius is your clavotrapezius on the neck, acromiotrapezius on the scapula, and then you have the triangular shaped here. This is all the way here. Okay, and that is your spinotrapezius, clavotrapezius, acromiotrapezius, and spinotrapezius. In human beings, that's one big muscle which you call the trapezius muscle. The fascia is known as the lumbar dorsal fascia. It's dorsal because it's at the back. It's lumbar because it's in the lower back. Okay. Now underneath the lumbar dorsal fascia is your longissimus dorsi muscle because it runs along the vertebrae. Okay. Towards the lower back, you have your gluteus. That's your gluteus medius, and gluteus maximus. Gluteus medius is actually bigger, and then gluteus maximus is smaller in the cat. In the human being, the terminology is more consistent, where the gluteus maximus is actually bigger. This one you don't need to know, the muscle underneath gluteus maximus. And then next to that is your biceps femoris. It's a big muscle. Towards the thigh, or towards the medial side, that is your tensor fascia latae. It's a muscle that has fascia attached to it, which is the same. If I can show you on this side, that's the muscle here, and it has fascia. This is some of the fascia that's still attached to it. Okay, so that's the tensor fascia latae. Biceps femoris. Right next to the biceps femoris is your semitendinosus. And then if I do the flip side, the medial side of the leg, superficial muscles is your sartorius and gracilis. Okay, if you lift the sartorius muscle, you expose the muscles underneath. You need to know 3 of these, and that's your vastus lateralis and vastus medialis. In between them, you have your rectus femoris. So it's 3 muscles, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, and in the middle, rectus femoris. Okay. Now underneath the gracilis, again, there's 3 muscles that you need to know: the semitendinosus, adductor femoris, and adductor longus, which appears like a smaller muscle right by the groin. Now you'll notice that if this is the semimembranosus, it's right next to the semitendinosus. So semitendinosus, semimembranosus, adductor femoris, and adductor longus. Okay. The leg, the back of the leg is a big muscle. That's the gastrocnemius. And on the medial side, which is this side, if you lift the gastrocnemius, you expose the plantaris muscle, and you can see the sciatica right next to it. So that's the plantaris. On the lateral side, if you lift the gastrocnemius, that would be your soleus muscle. Okay. And then this is your tibia bone. The muscle on top of it is your tibialis anterior. Did I forget anything?
Achilles, yeah.
Achilles tendon. That's the Achilles tendon. Okay. I forgot the arm. Okay, the arm. All right. So the back of the arm, these are your triceps long head, and triceps lateral head. And then from the medial side, there's a big muscle here. This is your biceps brachii. And going towards the lateral side, right next to it, that is your brachialis. So I usually like to remember it as triceps brachii, long head, triceps brachii, lateral head, brachialis, and then biceps brachii. Okay. Anything I forgot?
I don't think so.